Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Mandy Miller-Warren, and I'm sitting in today for Coach Chester. He was nice enough to let me do that while he's on vacation with his family. So we'll jump right into the weather. Today's Thursday, June 15th. And weather's brought to you by Haney Technical Center. High of 84, low of 73. Yucky thunderstorms throughout the week and the weekend, it looks like. It's been yucky all week, but looks like it's still going to be yucky. 80% chance of rain. Water temperature, 82 degrees. Nice and warm. Let's see, the tides are by Kent Forest Lawn, and it looks like the high tide is at 1:47 p.m. with a 1.2 foot range. The winds are 10 knots, and the fish and game times today are going to be around 4:01 a.m., which, too early for me, and 4:25 p.m. Let's look at the river readings. Apalachicola, 7 foot and falling, so that's good if you want the water moving. And then Chalk-Tahatchee at Caryville is 6.8, and it is falling fast as well. So anyways, yeah, we'll go on into a break. So we're back. I want to jump right in this morning. I've got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. I don't have a guest this morning, so it is all me, and I'm just going to have to fill a lot of time. So, but I do have a lot of exciting stuff to share. So, Coach Chester, first thing I wanted to share was some pictures, and he is on a really exciting vacation with all of his family, and I just thought it was really cool. And I'm friends with his granddaughter on Facebook, and I noticed one of their posts, and I got to thinking about it. And you know, they're not at Disney or anything. Like, we just went to Disney and it was a lot of fun, but they took their whole family and they went, and they're actually like learning things. They're in DC, and they went to a couple other places, and I saw this post, and I'm going to show the picture. This is Coach Chester at I think it was a Vietnam memorial, and I'm going to kind of summarize what Whitney wrote about it. And I just thought it was so cool that he's out there teaching his grandchildren something a little bit more than, you know, just roller coaster rides and things like that on their vacation, and that they're all together doing this. And so I thought it was really neat. But she talks about how they went to the memorial, and I'm sure if y'all all watch this show, then you know that Coach Chester's from Quincy. And when they got there, he started talking about two of his friends that were close to him. They played football together, they went to school together, and they started looking on that wall. They got drafted, and they looked, and they spread out as family, and they found those two names on that wall. And it talks about how emotional it was, and what an impact it had on Whitney, and probably the rest of the grandkids. And I just thought it was a really cool lesson for them to learn. So anyways, I just wanted to give kudos to the Chester family for doing things like that with to teach the kids, you know, about how important it is, and what our soldiers did to get us here and things like that. So, all right, moving on. Let's look at some other pictures. Let's see. Why don't we revisit snapper season, because we haven't had enough of that, right? So let's see. I did one of the 3 days. I've been working a ton, but I was able to sneak out for the first of the days and go with Miss Stephanie Hobbs on a Miller 60, which is exciting for me, that we built, called the God Believe. It's a beautiful boat. And this was our catch for the day. So super excited about that. It was a beautiful day. It was overcast, which I loved. Not sunny at all, but the water was slick and it was beautiful. We went early. It was crazy though, because we got out there and obviously everyone was doing what we were doing. And the bait boat was like a parking lot. It was so crazy. I use my hands a lot, so. There were so many boats. It was insane. And I know obviously it was because we had 3 days, but heading out the pass, it was so cool. I wish I'd have gotten a picture of that to watch just all the boats heading out at the same time. You know, trying to get out there as quick as possible. And we did like everybody else. We got our limit early and tried to find some grouper, which was almost impossible. But there were a lot of sharks this year, and I don't know if everybody else had that problem or not. But we had a lot of sharks and of course a lot of dolphins. But we did not have any luck getting through these small snapper. There's just so many of them to the grouper and things at the bottom. So, you know, hopefully that'll get better when they thin out a little bit. But this is another picture of a friend of mine, Stephen Lewis, in state waters. And so there are plenty to be caught still in state waters if you still are going. Another picture yesterday I saw on Facebook. This is the Real Commotion with Captain Brad, and I just thought that was a really huge wahoo, and I thought that needed to be recognized. So that was a pretty cool fish. What else do we have that I saw? Oh, this is a dolphin caught off of in Costa Rica. And we don't have it, but a Miller boat is over there on one of our customers. It's a 36 Miller. And it stays over in Los Banos. And they've got some of the most beautiful, beautiful fishing and just lots of pictures and stuff that they share on their Facebook page, which is, I think it's Adventure Club Costa Rica. And like I said, it's a Miller 36, and they charter it out of Costa Rica. And it's just, they've got amazing fishing over there. And, you know, the coolest thing, no hurricanes. They're right by the equator. It's just so cool. They don't have to worry about things like that. Weather is always beautiful. So that's really all the pictures I have. I do have one more. So we went down to Howard's Creek this weekend as well, which I know, you know, the fishing's not that great, but we did okay, I thought. This is my little catch, and I was pretty proud of it. I mean, I haven't fished pretty hard for it, but, you know, I was determined, and we had a blast, and the weather was okay. It held up for us. With the rain and stuff, it was, the river was a little weird. It was low, so be careful. Please be careful if you're running in and out of there. Even if you do know the river like the back of your hand, it could happen to anybody. Wear your kill switch and wear your life jacket. And you know, I just repaired a boat at the Boatyard the other day. A family that goes all the time and knows it inside and out. And you know, it could just happen to anybody. And they had a stump too. So thank goodness they take their safety precautions and were wearing their kill switch, and everything was fine. But it left a big hole. So, you know, just be careful because things are moving around and tides, and you just can't see everything. Last thing, I want to remind everybody that today is the scallop seminar that Coach Chester was talking about earlier in the week. Obviously, most of us can't make it to the, I think it's the Steinhatchee Community Center. So you can catch it online, which is pretty darn cool, on their Facebook page, but you'll have to Google it because it's really long. The Facebook page is UFIFAS Nature Coast Biology Station Facebook page, but just Google it if you want to attend. It's going to be pretty cool. You need to know the rules and regulations because obviously, you know, we want to make sure we protect our scallops in the bays, and we're probably going to get a limited amount of time anyway. So, all right, let's take a break and we'll be right back. So welcome back. On this segment, I wanted to kind of jump into what some things that I know about because Coach Chester gets to do all these really cool things all the time, and so the only thing I do is you know, work and do kid stuff, and so I thought I'd jump right into things like that. So at the Boatyard, we have hurricane season coming up. Well, actually, we're here, but. So I wanted to talk a little bit about being ready for it. And a lot of the things that we see every year are very common sense things, but I hate for them to go unsaid because we see it every year. So I wanted to talk about just first off having a plan. And obviously we deal with really big boats. So sometimes you really don't need a huge extensive plan, but we offer a plan where, you know, we have an insurance type thing. You pay for a slip, we come get the boat, you know, it's safe on the hard, out of the water. Your insurance company feels safe, you get a discount, everything's great. But if you are in a situation where you don't have a place to take it, you know, you need to make sure you get it away from your dock. Like I said, a lot of these things seem like common sense, but people leave them, you know, tied to the dock. They beat around, the tide goes up or down. They're tied too tight. So make sure you get away from the dock. Make sure your lines are good. Drain plugs. If you're on a trailer, leave the drain plug in. You might want a little water in there. We've seen aluminum boats just fly right off the trailer. If you have curtains or canvas, things like that, that you take those down. I have people that, you know, leave them up in the boatyard, and that's just another sail for the wind to take. So we don't want those. We want to take those down. Check all your bilge pumps. Make sure they work. Batteries. Let's see, things like that are important. Make sure there's food out of refrigerators, because when batteries go dead accidentally, that makes a stinky mess. You don't want that. So things like that, go ahead and be thinking about that. Make sure if you're out of town, you let a friend know, hey, I'm going to be out of town this weekend. God forbid a hurricane comes or something. Can you check on my boat? Can you go get it and put it on the trailer? Can you take care of it? Call my parents, whatever. Just make sure that you've got a plan and that you're taking action, because the last thing we want is a bunch of boats in the road or things that other people have to clean up. So anyways, those are my tips for hurricane season coming up. And just watch the weather too. Don't wait till the last minute. I've got a lot of boats that, you know, they want to play it by ear and wait till the last minute. And then I've got way too many. I'm sitting around waiting with my, you know, twiddling my thumbs, and then I've got way too many coming at one time, and I can't help everybody. So, you know, watch the weather and play it safe and get out early for the sake of everybody else. So, but when I was talking to my uncle about hurricane season yesterday, he brought up a really cool story that I don't think is in Coach Chester's book, but it might be. But it is about my three uncles who are in Coach Chester's book. Grover and Joed and Duck Davis. This is them from the Davis fleet in their young days, and looking good. And they built the Queen boats, which are the big, huge head boats that some of them are still running actually out at Anderson Pier. So the Gemini Queen was actually being built. It's an 89-foot catamaran, and it was being built during Hurricane Camille, which was, I'm pretty sure, 69. So huge hurricane, right? So obviously I wasn't around, but I called Uncle Grover last night. I said, tell me about that, because it was, you know, a pretty cool story. And he said they were 3 days out, and they were in Panama City, but the boat was being built in Biloxi, Mississippi. And he said we were so close to finishing it. We needed bottom paint. That was about it. We'd already done the startup and everything. So they go back to Panama City, and they hear, oh gosh, there's this hurricane coming, but it's going to hit Panama City. Well, then it turns and it says, no, it's going to go hit Biloxi. So Grover and Duck, they jump in the car, head on over. Well, they get to Mobile just in time to make it over Mobile Bay before it closes, because it's just washed out. And make it onto the boat and, you know, start getting things ready. Well, at that point, Joed and Bill Morar, who is their friend and longtime co-worker, they said, you know, we should probably go too. So they jumped in the car. Well, it's too late. Mobile Bay is completely, you know, they can't get across the causeway. It's just closed. So they flew to Mobile, grabbed a taxi, and rode on over to Biloxi. Well, they get to Biloxi, and they put their cars in the stadium because it's the highest place they can find. And they take a taxi, and Grover and Duck meet them over there. And they take a taxi, and by the time they got back, they had to swim to the boat. They had to get out of the taxi and swim to the boat. That's how fast the water was coming in. And so they knew, okay, this is bad news. Well, at that point, they were hearing things like 31-foot tides. I think that the average, like, power pole is 40 foot. So you can imagine how high that tide is. That's crazy. So they're thinking, this boat is 89 foot. It's sitting on blocks inside a building. And it's a big building. This building, like, they built these mine sweepers in World War II. I mean, it was a big building. So they get in there, and they're sitting on the boat, and they hear, like, shotgun sounds. Pow, 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 pow. And they can't figure out what it is. But they realize it's the nuts from the tie rods holding the building together. So they're like, oh, this is not good. Now the building's not going to make it. So they go into mode, buddy. They're getting the boat ready. And they decide, let's just get out of here. So it's sitting on blocks, but it's getting real close. And they start rocking it back and forth, trying to get it off these blocks. Well, bad winds come. Uncle Grover said the wind was so bad you had to turn sideways to breathe. That's pretty bad. That is pretty crazy. So they rock it back and forth, and they manage to, no, they don't get it off the blocks. The building collapses on top of them. How crazy is that? So they're okay. The wind pushes the building off of them. And at that point, they had been smashed down off the blocks, and they're free. And they're like, let's just go out of here. Well, they were hung. The props were hung underwater on the tie rods and some chain link fence from the building. So they couldn't go anywhere, but at least the building was off the top of them. And they rode the storm out right there in the place that night, and got up the next morning. A huge mess. Took them like 6 weeks to fix the boat. Shafts got pushed up in it. Luckily, no water got in it. But anyway, had to start over, get everything, on the bottom tidied up, jack it back up, get it on blocks. Anyway, it's a pretty crazy story. So if you're ever getting on that boat to go fishing, you'll know a little bit of history about it now. And so, actually, I think I do have a picture of it. But let's see. Well, anyways, it's a pretty cool boat. It's a big, huge catamaran. So, anyway, that's my hurricane story for the day. And just remember, be prepared. Get lots of dock lines. Have everything ready. Don't wait till the last minute. We're going to take one more break, then we're going to come back and talk about some Father's Day stuff. So we're back. I wanted to kind of finish out the show with some Father's Day stuff. Obviously, gift certificates are good. I wanted to talk about all the awesome small businesses in Panama City. Go support those small businesses. Get some gift certificates. CNG, Sunjammers, some of the ones that support this show have some amazing, really cool stuff that daddies want, and mommies probably want too, but we're going to do it for daddies this month. So anyways, get out there, get some gift certificates. But I also wanted to show you a couple other things that are pretty cool. We, at Miller Marine, I know y'all heard me talk about it last time I was on, but we ended up doing a ship store there at Miller Marine when, unfortunately, Panama Marine had closed. And so James, who is just a jewel, came over and was nice enough to come over to Miller Marine and work with us. And he is just so knowledgeable on every marine part and product in the world. I could just sit there and listen to him talk about things because he just knows about everything. He's like an encyclopedia of part numbers. It's just amazing. So he's over there if you need anything at Miller Marine. But one of the things we usually stick to, obviously, marine repair supplies. But a friend of mine called, and the guy that builds our fuel tanks, which is, I think, in Perry, Florida. Anyway, he is on the side building these fish fryers, which I thought were really cool. And the thing with these fish fryers is it comes with a stand as well. We've got them in the store. It comes with a normal, fish fryer stand. They've got a high one and a little short one. But the cool thing about this part of it, obviously, there's a lid. he built a little spout in here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got a little hole right here. So when you're done with your grease, you pour it right back in your grease container to save your grease. So how genius is that? I mean, super smart. And you know, I told him he's welcome to put one at the store. So if you want one or you want to order one, comes with a stand. He builds both pieces, super quality. Like I said, he builds our fuel tanks. Super quality piece, and they are at the ship store at Miller Marine. So you can talk to me or James about that if you're interested in something like that. Great Father's Day gift. Let's see what other things that I want to talk about. So anyways, yeah. Other Father's Day things that I think Coach Chester had already mentioned, fishing trips. That's another great one. We've got tons of local guides that inshore and offshore, but the inshore guides, you know, you can do you can do all of them year round, but the inshore guides are great. And, you know, they're inexpensive enough that you could do a half-day trip, and fathers love them. You can take your kids. I think it's a great way to spend time with your family. So those are great gifts. But I really wanted to push on the small businesses. So get out there and help them. Anyways, so we're going to round it up, and I want y'all to have a great week. Remember, Coach Chester's famous 4 F's: faith, family, friends, and fun. And yeah, that's about all we got to talk about today.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.
It's a fact. Millions of Americans are currently faced with the rising cost of home repair bills. If this is you or someone you know, we have important information that could save you thousands. Affordable home warranty coverage is available that provides protection that costs less and is customized to fit your needs. Call Nation's Home Warranty for a free quote. There's no credit check and everyone is guaranteed approval. The call and consultation are free.
Call 800-466-5605.